In a world filled with constant noise and endless distractions, it can feel almost impossible to find a moment of true peace. Notifications buzz relentlessly, headlines shout for our attention, and our minds race with worries about the future, our families, and the state of the world. We move through crowded streets, surrounded by people who are just as distracted and overwhelmed as we are, each of us searching for something deeper. The pressure to keep up, to always be connected, can leave us feeling isolated and spiritually drained, even in the midst of a crowd. In the midst of this chaos, many hearts are quietly asking the same question: how can I hear God's voice? Is it even possible to find clarity and guidance when life feels so loud and uncertain? The truth is, even in the busiest moments, God's voice is present, gentle, steady, and waiting for us to listen. Sometimes it's a whisper in our hearts, a sense of calm in the storm, or a quiet nudge to pause and reflect. This chapter explores how we can tune out the noise, quiet our hearts, and discover the peace that comes from truly hearing God's voice, even when the world around us feels overwhelming. Every day, we are surrounded by sound. The pressure to keep up, the fear of falling behind, the weight of expectations. Yet in the middle of all this chaos, God has not gone silent. The Bible gently invites us, "Be still and know that I am God." That's from Psalm 46, verse 10. Stillness is not escape. Stillness is where God meets us. The world teaches us to rush, to strive, to prove ourselves. But God teaches us to rest, to trust, and to listen. When Elijah climbed the mountain in search of God, his heart was heavy with fear and uncertainty. He longed for a sign, something unmistakable, something powerful that would reassure him he was not alone. As he waited in the cold, thin air, a mighty wind tore through the rocks, shattering the silence with its force and echoing the turmoil inside him. Then the ground trembled beneath his feet as an earthquake shook the mountain, followed by a blazing fire that lit up the darkness, each event more dramatic than the last. Elijah watched, his hopes rising with each display, expecting to find God in these overwhelming forces of nature. But God was not in the wind, nor the earthquake, nor the fire. Instead, after all the noise and chaos faded away, there came a gentle whisper, a still, small voice, barely audible, yet deeply profound. In that quiet moment, Elijah realized that God's presence is often found not in the grand or the obvious, but in the subtle, peaceful moments that invite us to listen closely. Sometimes the most profound guidance comes in the softest of whispers, reminding us to be still and attentive, for true wisdom often arrives in silence. God whispers, not because he is weak, but because he is close. In moments of fear, God whispers peace. In moments of confusion, he whispers guidance. In moments of exhaustion, he whispers strength. Scripture promises, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted." That's Psalm 34, verse 18. You know, God does not shout over your pain, he steps gently into it. Sometimes, we struggle to hear God because our lives are just crowded with noise. There's the constant buzz from our phones, messages, notifications, and endless updates that demand our attention every minute of the day. Then there's the noise from our own worries and fears, the anxious thoughts that swirl in our minds and keep us awake at night. Even when we try to find a quiet moment, our minds can be so full of to-do lists, regrets, and what-ifs that it feels impossible to hear anything else. In this digital age, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and disconnected, even from ourselves. We might long for a sense of peace or clarity, but the world around us is always pulling us in different directions. Sometimes it's not that God isn't speaking, it's that we're surrounded by so much noise, we can't hear his gentle voice. It's important to realize that the noise isn't just external, it's also internal. Our own expectations, doubts, and the pressure to keep up with everything can drown out the stillness we need. We may find ourselves searching for answers, but forget to pause and simply be present. Learning to quiet the distractions and truly listen can be one of the hardest but most rewarding steps in our spiritual journey. When we intentionally carve out moments of silence, we open ourselves to the possibility of hearing God in ways we never expected. But when we quiet our hearts, well, God's voice becomes clearer. Jesus said, "My sheep hear my voice." That's from John chapter 10, verse 27. God is still speaking. The question is, are we listening? One whisper from God can calm an anxious heart, and one word from Him can bring hope where despair once lived. So pause, take a breath, and listen. God is closer than you think, and His whisper of hope is reaching for you, even now.